Foreign appointment of high priest was a very big thing. How do I know this? It's not stated anywhere. I can see it in the materials. That that's what they were bugged about, if you want to use a popular expression. That's what they were concerned about. Those big things. And not the little things. And that's what's being concerned here. Submitting to foreign rule and willing slaves of impiety. Just the opposite of Galatians 4, where you are a son of the slave woman if you observe the law, Paul says. You're a son of the free woman if you don't. And the slave woman is Sinai, Hagar and Sinai, and so on and so forth. He makes it quite clear what he's talking about. So this is just, I use it because what I want to show is that we've got 2 centuries of struggle against this submitting to foreign rule, Hellenization, and then, of course, after the Roman destruction of everything in 7 AD, all these things come into being. All these things come into being because these groups lose. These groups lose, right or wrong. I mean, it was inevitable, you could say. Okay. Now, once Antiochus had established his authority, he determined to make himself king of Egypt. So that's how he came down into Palestine. And then he advanced on Israel and Jerusalem after his conquest. They say he conquered Egypt. I don't think he did. But he conquered. He obviously plundered some of it. And came back. He probably had to pay his army. He turned about, advanced in Israel and Jerusalem in massive strength, line 21, 23. Instantly breaking into the temple, removed the golden altar and lampstand. So he wanted all the rich stuff, the same as Titus did on the Arch of Titus. Took the lampstand, the golden altar, with all its fitting, together with all these other things: loaves, offering, libations, cups, golden saucers, veil, crowns, golden decoration from the front of the temple, stripped everything to melt it down. He made off with gold, silver, precious vessels, secret treasures, seized them, and left everything in shambles. Okay? In his arrogance. There was deep mourning in Israel. 2 years went by, and then the king sent a representative, line 29, to Jerusalem, addressing them with peaceful words, gaining their confidence, but then dealing it a terrible blow, pillaging the city, setting it on fire, tore down houses, took women and children hostage, commandeered the cattle. Then he fortified the city of David, the high point in the city, with a great wall, and installed an army of sinful men. And they looted everything, etc., etc., etc. It was great trouble. And they shed innocent blood in the temple. Anyway, everyone fled. The citizens fled. And the temple of Jerusalem became a place of strangers. Her sanctuary became deserted as a wilderness. Now, do I believe all this? Well, I may be exaggerated, but I don't see any reason to quibble with it. There's nothing here that's supernatural or surprising, particularly so, unless you have counterindicative evidence. We know the point of view. The point of view is against what's happening. We could write it from for what's happening, but the basic, what happened is probably pretty close to what happened. He wanted the whole kingdom to become a single people and renouncing peculiar customs, line 42. All the pagans conformed to his decree, like Alexander wanted, and many Israelites chose to accept sacrifice to idols, profaning the Sabbath. That's another one in James' instructions overseas community things sacrificed to idols. The Sabbath was broken, and so on and so forth. Adopting foreign customs, defiling the temple, sacred precincts, building altars, sacrificing pigs and other unclean animals, leaving their children uncircumcised, prostituting themselves. Oh, this might be overstated, but anyway, it's how they see it. All kinds of impurity. They forgot the law and revoked the observance of it. Many became apostates. Then on the 15th of Chislev, in the year 145, the king erected the abomination of the desolation. So that's about maybe 3.5 years later. So now we notice it's the same thing. Thus we know that's the abomination of the desolation. The statue of the Olympian Zeus, I think, in Maccabees 2, that's what it'll be called. So Maccabees 2 will identify this as a statue of the Olympian Zeus. You say, why do they call it abomination of the desolation? Because it's another play on words. Probably translated into Hebrew, the abomination of the desolation came out to sound something like the statue of the Olympian Zeus in Greek. It's like saying Joe Schmo. You know, in your own language, you can make it sound like something really awful. Instead of saying Olympian Zeus, then some similar sounding word in Hebrew. I don't know the two languages well enough to go further than that for you. But you can imagine why they got that. Above the altar, and altars were built all around like that. And books of the law that came to light were torn up. Anyone possessing a copy of the covenant or practicing the law, so is this pro-law? Yeah, totally. And what's going to happen is both Maccabee books, dying of the law, is going to become a rule of thumb. And therefore, martyrdom is going to take root in this period. So I think we can start linking up in a moment Daniel's saints of the Most High God with what's going to happen here. On the 25th of the month, funny, that's Christmas if you like, sacrifice was all offered to the altar erected over the altar. Here we go. Women who had children circumcised were put to death according to the edict, with their babies hung around their necks. And the members of their household and those who performed the circumcision executed. So look, when Paul heaps abuse on circumcision, you know, he's flying in the face of people who have been gone to their death for this thing. I don't say who's right or wrong. I don't care who's right or wrong. We're talking about how people feel and how they see something. So, you know, he's really, you know, treading on very sensitive stuff. He can do that in Asia Minor. He can do it in Greece. He can do it in Rome. You can do it in Ireland, you can do it up in Denmark, you can do it in Russia, you can do it anywhere he likes because people don't care. But in Palestine, with this history of 2 centuries, no, you can't do it. You can't speak like he speaks in Galatians. You can't do it, because then people are going to want to kill you. And that's exactly what the book of Acts shows people. Not everyone. They don't want to kill James, they don't want to kill, they say in the book of Acts, with an oath we have cursed ourselves not to eat or drink till we have killed Paul. Who are those people? Nazarite, temporary Nazarite oath, zealots taking a Nazarite oath. Do I believe that material in Acts? It's around, I forget where it is in Acts, somewhere around Acts 22 or so. Yeah, I believe that. I think that's exactly what would have happened to him, given the kind of things he was saying.